We continue now at the top of Daf Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Aleph Meseches Shabbos. This is Shabbos Daf 117a. The Gemara here is discussing whether you can move the skin of the Korban Pesach on account of the meat of the Korban Pesach. Is it a problem of muksa? And the attempt was to bring a proof from our Mishnah where you can carry the case of the Sefer Torah on account of the Sefer Torah in a situation where you're saving it from the fire. So the Gemara says, Mi dami, can you really compare the two? Hasam nasa basis l'davar hamutter. Over there, it's a support for something that's mutter. Hacha nasa basis l'davar ha'asr. Here, we're talking about a support. By the case of the Korban Pesach, it's for something that's asr to move. Rashi over here says, there is some girsa question on this Rashi, but it says, Mi dami, tik ha-sefer nasa basis l'davar hamutter l'taltalo. The case of the Sefer Torah is a basis, it's a support for something that inherently is mutter to move around. Below Shum Delek, you wouldn't even need a fire to allow you to move it. To Sefer Bar Tiltalu, because the Sefer is a Bar Tiltal. The next line, some people take out. Hacha, but over here, Hai or Nase Basis L'Davar Shakulo Aser. Here, it's supporting something that's totally Aser B'Tiltal and Tiltal. Shabbos Aser L'Taltalo, because the meat itself is Aser to move. To Lo Chazi La'achila Ad Ursa, because really you're not eating the Korban Pesach until the evening. The Pesach Eino Nachol Ela B'Layla Utzli. There are rules about eating the Korban Pesach. It's got to be evening, it's got to be roasted, etc. So therefore, the Gemara says it's not really a comparison. So the Gemara says, Ella hachi kamile. Rather, here was the response that they were giving to him. Im matzilin tikshel sefer im hasefer v'afal b'sheyesh besocho mos. If you're allowed to save a case of a Sefer Torah with a Sefer Torah, even though there's money in there, money is also to move. So lo netaltal or agav basar, shouldn't you be able to move the hide, the skin, on account of the meat? And the Gemara again responds, Mi dami, is that really comparable? Hasam nasa basis l'davar ha'asar u'l'davar ha'mutter. Over there, in the case of the Sefer Torah, it's supporting something that's mutter to move and something that's asar to move. Hacha kulo nasa basis l'davar ha'asar. Here, the entire thing is a davar ha'asar, so you can't bring a proof from that. So the Gemara tries another attempt. Ela hachi kamali. Rather, here's what they're saying to him. Lay to him. If our Mishnah allows you to bring a case, in other words, from the outside to the fire, in order to save the Sefer Torah, and that case has money in it, so the only thing is money, it's a davar aser, lo netaltel or agav basar, certainly you should be able to move the skin on account of the meat. But the Gemara says, our Mishnah never says you can bring a case. So the Gemara says, how do you know that? V'higuva minolan. How do you know that you're allowed to bring the case of a Sefer Torah that has money to save the Sefer Torah? If you're going to say from the fact that when you're saving the Sefer Torah, let's say the case already has money on it, on the way out of the house, you're allowed to just take it out of the house. You don't have to go dump the money because that would take too long. That's not a good proof, because just because you don't have to dump the money on the way out doesn't mean you're allowed to bring a case in with money. The Gemara explains. Mi dami, is that really a good comparison? Hasam adahachi v'hachi nafla deleka. Over there, if you delay, the fire is going to hit the Sefer Torah, it's going to burn. Hacha adahacha v'hachi lishdin. And here, if you're bringing a case into the house to save the Sefer Torah, it's not going to cost you any time to dump the money out as you're running. Ella Amar Mar Bar Rav Ashi. So rather, Mar Bar Rav Ashi says, Liolam Kedamrina Meikara. Go back to what we said originally, meaning the situation over here is an issue of malacha. The machlokas before is not an issue of can you move the skin on account of the meat. The issue is can you do the malacha of flaying the skin. And we're bringing a proof from our Mishnah. And your whole question was, how could you learn a proof from our Mishnah where it's just an Isser D'Rabbanan of tiltal and prove it to something which is a malacha d'oraisa of hefshit, of stripping the hide off the animal? The answer is, kigon de lo kaboy or. No, you'll have to say that the case over here was where you really didn't need it, was unintentional. You don't need to use the skin for anything. You don't care about it. So therefore, it's a davar sheino meskaven, so it's not really an Isser d'oraisa. Gemara says that's not true. For Abaya v'Rava damri tarvaya, but Abaya and Rava both say Moed Rav Yishim b'sik reisha v'lo yamas, that if it's something that's for sure going to happen, which in this case it is, even if you don't have intention, it's still an Isser d'oraisa. Even Rabbi Shimon, who's normally lenient by davar sheino meskaven, is going to be strict if it's a b'sik reisha. So the Gemara finally answers the shakal le bebarzi. The case over here was you're taking the hide off in strips, which is not an Isser d'oraisa according to all opinions, just the way you're doing it, and therefore it is equal. You're bringing a proof from our Mishnah, which is in Isser D'Rabbanan, to this case of Korban Pesach, which is also an Isser D'Rabbanan. Rashi here explains. Rashi says, Kidamrinan meikara, as we said originally, the lo pligi elabav shata, that the machlokas tanoim is really in terms of can you strip the hide at all. And the Rabbanan who say you can, umaisi Rabbanan raya mitika sefer. The Rabbanan are bringing a proof from the case of the Sefer Torah the masnisin, the matzilin mos, agav sefer, tzarche hedyot, agav tzarche gavoa. You're saving something which is tzarche hedyot. It's not kadosh on account of something which is for gavoa, the sefer Torah, for kedusha. Hoel veleka shos l'mishnim, because you don't have time to do otherwise. V'hachinami agav tzarche gavoa dechol po'al Hashem l'manayu yafshid. Here also, it's for the sake of the carbon, you're allowed to strip the hide. With the kasha loch, the lo boy le leor, and your question was. Your question was answered the right, so you don't need the hide. You're having no kavana. It's not similar to what happened in the Malach and the Mishkan because it's Eino Miskavin, so therefore it's not going to be an Isser Doraisa. Gemara says, here it's for sure going to happen, and Rav Shimon admits that in such a case you're chayiv. And finally, the Gemara answers, you're cutting the hide into thin strips. That's not the normal way of hafshata. That's not a malacha doraisa. It's only an Isser D'Rabbanan, and you can bring a proof from Tiltal, and that was what the Rabbanan's proof was in that discussion. Gemara now continues at the two dots, ulehechon matzilan osan. So we had a machlokas over here in the Mishnah to where are you allowed to bring the Sefer Torah. One opinion was it has to be a mavoi she'eno mefulish, and the other opinion was it can even be a mavoi mefulish. The translation there would be a mavoi that's not open or a mavoi that is open. The question is, what exactly does that mean? So the Gemara says, Hechi dami mefulish, Hechi dami she'eno mefulish. What is considered an open mavoi? What is considered a closed mavoi? What are we talking about over here? So Amar Rav Chisda says, Shalosh mechitzos ushnei lechayayin zehu mavoi she'eno mefulish. If an alleyway has 3 walls, surrounded on 3 sides, and in that front entrance you have 2 lechis, two poles, 2 upright poles along the walls that act as a halachic wall. So basically you're in some way surrounding this area on all 4 sides. Zehu mavoi she'eno mefulish. That's considered a mavoi that's not open. But gimel mechitzas v'lechi echad. But if you have 3 walls and only 1 lechi at the entrance, so zehu mavoi hamefulish. That's considered open. V'tarvayu aliba de Rabbi Eliezer. And both opinions in the Mishnah are actually following, meaning the Rabbanan and Ben Beseira. They're the ones that argue in the Mishnah. So they are really both following Rabbi Eliezer. We'll take a look at Rashi over here. Rashi says, Shnei lechoyayim lepesach she'en lo mechitza. For the opening that has no wall, you're going to use 2 lechis according to the stricter opinion. Zeu mavoi she'eno mefulish. That's not mefulish. Kolomar mavoi haniter bechol el chosav. That's going to be a mavoi that's completely mutter. Bein be'eruv, bein b'shar devarim. You can make an eruv for such a mavoi. It's basically considered a rishus hayachid, where you can make an eruv. V'chol heter shar mavos yesh lo kagon shitufei mavos. Whatever you're going to make, an eruv chatzeros shitufei mavos, whatever it is. V'tarvayu Rabbanan Ben Beseira svir luk Rabbi Eliezer. Rashi explains that both the Rabbanan and Ben Beseira in our Mishnah, they hold like Rabbi Eliezer. De Amar ein mavoi va'afilu sasum nitor belechi echad. Rabbi Eliezer is strict, and he says you need 2 lechis to allow a mavoi. Va'ashmin and Ben Beseira teaches us devat solas kisvei hakodesh lo ba'inan lechayayim Rabbi Eliezer. In other words, everyone holds like Rabbi Eliezer, and Ben Beseira, who is lenient when it comes to Kisvei HaKodesh, he's the lenient opinion in our Mishnah. He says that when it comes to Kisvei HaKodesh, you don't need 2 lechis. Even though normally you need 2 lechis, because we're all holding like Rabbi Eliezer, in this case, you're trying to save Kisvei HaKodesh, you don't need 2 lechis, 1 lechi suffices. The Rabbanan, who disagree with Ben Beseira, say, no, whatever you need in normal cases, you're going to need over here as well. That essentially is the machlokas. The Gemara here now just brings the sheet of Rabbi Eliezer. The Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah, Hechsher mavoi, what does a mavoi need in order to start making an eruv to carry within it? Beis Shammai omrim lechi v'korah. Beis Shammai says the entrance needs a lechi and a korah. Again, the lechi is the upright beam. The korah is the beam that goes on top, almost as you enter the mavoi. If you look up, you're going to see a beam crossing from one wall to the other. Beis Hillel omrim o lechi o korah. Beis Hillel say you can either use a lechi or a korah. Rabbi Eliezer omer shnei lechayayim, and Rabbi Eliezer says it needs 2 lechis. So again, everybody will go like this opinion. In general, you need 2 lechis, but Ben Beseira says no. For when it comes to saving Sefer Torah, it can be a mavoi mefulish. Even 1 lechi is good. So that is the first answer to the Gemara. That's Rav Chisda's answer. Amar le Rabba says to Rav Chisda, 1 second. Gimel mechitzos v'lechi echad. First of all, if you have 3 walls and 1 lechi, mefulish karisle, that's called mefulish. In other words, Ben Beseira used the word mefulish. Mefulish sounds like an open mavoi. This mavoi is basically surrounded on 4 sides. So you're going to call that mefulish? That doesn't seem to fit with the wording of the Mishnah. And furthermore, if if according to the Rabbanan, the Mavi we're talking about here is completely enclosed halachically to carry in for other issues, why are we only saving a Sefer Torah? You should be able to bring anything into here, food, drinks, anything. So why the whole Mishnah doesn't make sense if it's a completely kosher Mavoi according to the Rabbanan. Elam Rabba, rather, Rabba says a different answer. Shtei mechitzos shnei lechayayin. The case in our Mishnah is you only have 2 walls and 2 lechis. Zeu mavoi she'enu mefulish. That's going to be a mavoi that is not mefulish. And shtei mechitzos v'lechi echad, 2 walls and 1 lechi. Zeu mavoi ha-mefulish. That's mefulish. That's what Ben Beseira allows. V'tarvayu alibid Rabbi Yehuda. And in this formulation, they're both going to follow the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, Tanya, because we learned in a brisa, Yeser al kein amar Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says further, Misha yeshlo shnei batim b'shnei tzidei rishos harabim. If you have 2 houses on 2 sides of rishos harabim, so basically 2 walls, and that's all that's enclosing. Osi lechi mikan v'lechi mikan. You make 1 lechi on each side. O kora mikan v'kor mikan, or a kora on each side. V'nosei v'emsen. You're totally allowed to carry. And Amru Lo, and the Rabbanan said back to Rabbi Yehuda, Ein ma'or v'nirshus harabim bekach. You're not allowed to make an erev v'nirshus harabim. So in other words, both Ben Meseira and the Rabbanan hold like Rabbi Yehuda that 2 walls, in theory, you can make some kind of erev there. And the machlokas again just is, how many lechis do you need? Rashi here explains the details. Rashi says, Shtei mechitzas, you have 2 walls, mikan and mikan, again, on each side of the Rishos harabim, or on each side of the mavoi is a wall. And Shnei lechayayin, lechi lecho pesach upesach. You have 1 lechi on each entrance, because now there's 2 entrances, only 2 walls. It's open on 2 sides. And they're both following Aliba de Rabbi Yehuda. They both follow Rabbi Yehuda. Damar v'shnei mechitzas sagi u'shnei lechayayim. Right, that with 2 walls and 2 lechis, Rabbi Yehuda says that's okay. Ve'asa Ben Meseira lemeimar. Ben Meseira comes along and says the legabe sefer, that when it comes to a sefer, mod Rabbi Yehuda the sagi b'chad, that Rabbi Yehuda would admit that 1 lechi is good to give him mechitzas hava. That's considered 3 mechitzas. Now the strange thing about this answer is that it's really the same answer as before, just that instead of following Rabbi Eliezer, we're following Rabbi Yehuda. But the machlokas is exactly the same. The Rabbanan say we follow what Rabbi Yehuda says in general for this as well. Ben Meseira says we could be a little more lenient for this. So that's what he said. Hamar le Abaya. Abaya said to Rabba, l'didach nami, according to you also, you got the exact same question. L'Rabbana natzel l'socha ochlan mashkin. According to the Rabbanan, why, if it's a completely good, if we're all following Rabbi Yehuda, and it's a totally good rishus hayachid, it's enclosed enough to make an erev, why only save a Sefer Torah? You should be able to bring in food and drink as well. And we'll see the answer to this question in the next video on Daf Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Beis.